Good morning, good afternoon, good day, wherever you're watching this video from. Axopar 2016 model with a brand new V8 300 horsepower Mercury fitted on the back in 2021. So this is going to be an interesting test. This is the Series 1, or the first generation of the 28 Axopars, which are, if you haven't heard of Axopar, where have you been? Because these boats are amazing to drive. But this one has got the open aft deck, so it's probably got a little bit less weight compared to the ones with the cabin versions. It's a fantastic commuter, it's a fantastic day boat, and fitted with the new V8, which has an excellent power to weight ratio compared to the Verados, which you would have seen all the earlier first generations running around on. This should be quite an entertaining boat to drive, which is what we're going to do right now. So, no one around us, let's just get the boat moving. So I was just cruising along low speed. I've got wind today, I've got harbour chop today. This is a typical Sydney summer's afternoon, nor'easterly breeze, white capping out on the main part of the harbour, so we've got 20 knots plus, and so it'll be a good little test. We'll just do a short one, because really, if you haven't heard of an Axopar, honestly, have you been living in a cave? Because these things are so incredibly popular. They really do sell themselves these days, so it'll just be a quick test to show you that this thing goes good. Coming through 8 knots at a fuel flow of 19 litres. She gets on the plane a little bit faster. We do have the air stepped hull. That's a very, very deep V, cutting bow at the front. And I'm actually going to close this so you can see what it's like with the doors closed. We'll just get the boat up to 20 knots. Yes, you can cruise around at slow speeds using that 20 litres or less, but you might as well do something like this, which is, I'm just sitting on 20 knots now. I'm doing that deliberately because my drone doesn't go to windward too well. And I'm just doing about 35 to 37 litres an hour. This particular boat has got the manually operated, or the trim tabs, electric trim tabs, but you operate them with the joystick, and this one has been mounted to the starboard side of the throttle for ease of use for the original owner. And yeah, my visibility is great, I'm comfortable, I got no wind, the noise levels are acceptable. I'm just going to look it around at that 20 knots initially, looking around, no visibility issues. We'll just go out and find a few waves. Let's speed the boat up. Okay, fuel flow coming through 45 litres, speed increasing, 27, 28. So I would happily sit this boat on my 28 to 32 knots cruise speed, which is what I'm doing now. Just going through some moderate chop, and the boat just basically drives itself. So, you know, I'm hands off right now. She's just chopping up the waves. I'm looking at my direction of travel, and I've hardly come off 1 or 2 degrees of my direction of travel. It's amazing how capable these hulls are and what they will do for you and your guests. This is a kind of boat that you can take guests out on who are perhaps not comfortable with boating, or a little bit prone to getting seasick or something like that, and the effects on your passengers are going to be minimal on a boat like this, and the effects on you, well, you're just going to have fun, because that's what it's all about. You're just going to have a great time, because who wouldn't when you can burn around at speeds like this? I'm currently sitting on a 55 litre fuel burn, and yeah, really enjoying yourself. So I'm just going to back that speed off a little bit to go back upwind, because the, as I said, the drone, it doesn't go so good to windward in 20 knots, so I can't keep up with the boat. So sitting on 20 knots quite comfortably, I'll just put it through a couple of little turns. You don't even get a loss of visibility from the heel angle of the boat, so I can hook it in on port side and I can still see quite safely out to the port side. Some cabin boats, you'll get a real noticeable loss of visibility, which could be a danger in some situations, but look, you just think ahead, like all things boating, so it's not the end of the world. Alrighty, I'm seeing an opportunity. I think I'm just going to go wider this time, and I'm going to get you guys out into the majority of the chop, and then we'll do a full speed run this time. We'll do a full speed run. Here we go. Going blowing into the majority of the wind. I can feel I'll hear the sunroof flapping a little bit. So we're doing 25 knots with 20 plus knots of breeze over the decks, so that's, you know, apparent breeze of 40 odd knots. So I would expect a little bit of movement. We're going into some ferry chop right now. The boat's handling it just beautifully, not a drop of water over the bow, and this 25 knots into chop is very, very doable. And now I'm just going to all clear to starboard. I'm just going to hook the boat around. And let's increase our speed. I love these new V8s. Okay, let's give it some. Climbing through 30 knots this time. Got my trip tabs all the way up. Not really needing to play with the trip tabs too much in inshore conditions like this. Yes, you can lower the nose if you're going into a bit of chop and you want to increase your comfort levels. I'm hitting 40 knots there. 40 knots, 92 litres fuel consumption, 41 knots. She really gets going. Now, this boat with its original motor would not have come close to speeds like this. So just give it a little bit of a trim up, just see if that makes much of a difference. Yeah, 41 knots. That's great. So that realistically gives us a fast cruise speed. You're not going to drive around at full flow. You can bring it back to 32 knots at 50 litres consumption per hour, and you're moving. So anywhere in that 32, and then if I wind it back to, say, 28 knots, which now feels slow on this boat, which it absolutely is not. 28 knots giving me a 39 litre fuel consumption per hour. You know, you're going places. You're going places. So that's really impressive. And that whole time, hopefully you can see the white caps coming up on the drone footage or in this footage, we haven't had any water over the bow. So isn't that great? So alright guys, we are going to film a detailed walkthrough of this vessel right now. So tune into that if you're interested and get in touch with us. Follow the link in the description below to the listing page on our website, and do get in touch with us if you want to have a look or make an offer on this boat. Dan Jones is my name. It's been the Boat Brokerage. Thank you. I'll see you on the next one.